So finally we've got the tree in the ground, we've got it staked properly and tied properly. The key thing now is to water it in. One thing I didn't mention is that it's good, this is winter time right now, these trees are wet, it's been raining, so it hasn't been a concern, but if we were to plant these trees in the summertime, we would want to deep soak the containers and get the root ball wet before we even stick it in the ground. And then once we get in the ground, we want to make sure that we thoroughly water that in to the point where we know that that soil is saturated, so that we got all the pore space filled in and we got nice adhesion of soil to the roots, so we have that bonding going on. And that way we prevent roots from drying out. I've seen shrubs and trees on planting projects where they're dying and they're watering them every day and they can't figure it out. Well, it's because they were watering the soil and not the root ball, and when the tree first planted, that's where the roots are at. They're right in that root ball and they got to stay moist. So on a tree like this, it's right now it's latter part of February, it's overcast, we got rain expecting. You know, we'll water this tree in right now and probably don't have to think about it for a couple of weeks. And you know, if we get a week or two of dry weather in the wintertime, maybe we take a look at it, give it some more water. If it's in the summer months, we might have to be watering this every other day for the first couple of weeks to make sure those roots get bonded with the soil and don't dry out. And then we could gradually taper it down to a couple times a month. And then, you know, realistically, a plant like this, first year after establishment, you could probably get away with watering it once a month, a good deep soaking in the summer months, maybe twice a month. Fertilizing and pruning. Don't fertilize when you plant unless you use time release tablet or something like that. What you don't want is you don't want to have nitrogen being released onto the fresh roots right after they've been uprooted and stuck in the ground, because we don't want to be burning roots. So right now is not the time to really be focused on any kind of intensive fertilizing. You know, slow release nitrogen that's, you know, going to take a few years to break down is fine, and that's a kind of a nice safety valve in case clients don't take care of their trees. But realistically, there's no need to fertilize at time of planting. And then pruning. Pruning at this time, these don't need any pruning, but if I were to prune a tree when I planted, I would target with broken branches, maybe branches that were damaged in transport. If there's a real structural problem, I might address that. But you want as much foliage on the tree as you can to help the tree recover. It's an old wives' tale that says, you know, you've damaged the roots, so you need to prune the top to compensate for root loss. That's totally untrue. It's the exact opposite. The foliage is what's going to help the roots recover. The more foliage, the faster the roots will recover. So you don't want to take off any branches that you don't need to take off on a brand new planted tree. And finally, one other thing, on trees that have a lot of low branching on them, people tend to stick them in the ground, and let's say it's by a walkway, they want to stick it in the ground, they want to cut off all the lower branches because they don't want branches there in the future to block their pathway. That's the wrong time to remove the branches. Leave those branches on as low as they go, because they help build trunk taper, and then you can take them off a year or two down the road. But for initial planting and structural development of the tree, the lower the foliage, the better.